All right, guys, we here live on the popbreak.com. And well, there's 104 days of summer vacation, and I'm spending my last ones with this guy bowling for soup. Simple plan. I'm so excited. Asbury Park, the legendary Stone Pony Summer Stage. We are not worthy. We are here with the front man, first ballot future rock and roll Hall of Famer, Mr. Jaret Reddick. How are you, sir? Welcome in, sir.
Oh man, I'm doing great. Yeah, we're on a day off somewhere in the middle of Ohio at an Airbnb that looks like it's out of a scary movie, but just enjoying a little downtime and catching up on laundry and just man, halfway through this tour and it's just going great.
That's right, man. Come back to Texas. I know you're in Ohio, but I'll say this shameless plug, man. Asbury, New Jersey, man. There's a history there. I know last time we talked, you said, "Hey, you're going to take over for Bon Jovi." But for a lot of young musicians, man, Asbury Park is kind of where I cut my teeth as a drummer. There's a lot of up and coming bands in there. I know you shared advice for them last time. We appreciate that, man. But there's going to be a lot of kids that are in bands. There's going to be a lot of fans of Bowling for Soup, man. Do you just kind of take that all into consideration when you take the stage in a place like Asbury Park, New Jersey?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just my when I walk out on stage really doesn't matter where I am. It's always the same mindset of, creating memories and just realizing that what I want people to take away from the show is that, I want people to go away from the show smiling and just and with some sort of a memory that's going to last them a lifetime, or at least, get them through a tough week. And that's kind of the way I approach it. I really do. But I love playing historic places. Obviously, we love doing that. The Asbury Park thing. I mean, we did several Warped Tours there. We've done the Stone Pony a couple of years ago. Rob and I played the Wonder Bar,
The acoustic.
and actually, yeah, and David Bryan from Bon Jovi was there, so which was really cool. But yeah, I just approach every show just wanting to put a smile on everybody's face and have them leave there with something that they'll keep forever.
I love that, man. And we touched on this last time, but do you kind of hang your hat on being the most fun band? Like, I know you guys are always trying to outdo each other and be the top band and steal the show, but I've been there where I've gone to Warp Tours and I saw you guys on a smaller stage and you were the most fun band out of the whole Warp Tour, man. Is that something you
Yeah.
guys kind of hang your hat on?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that we are, it's one of those things where I don't really strive to be, the funniest or the most fun band. We just kind of are. It's just it's who we are. It's what we do. It's we're that band that doesn't take ourselves so seriously that we take the fun out of it for ourselves. And I think that shows. I think when somebody watches us, you can genuinely see that we're having a great time, that we're glad to be there with each other. We're glad to be there with you. And I think, sometimes when bands try to fake that, fans can see through it,
Yeah.
and they really can. And that's what I love about this tour is there's four acts. Lolo is so great and her band is awesome, and then and us and 303 who are switching second and third each night, and they're
Okay.
just so much fun, and they're funny dudes, on and off stage. And then Simple Plan, their show is just so great, and there's a lot of emotion in their show, and there's a lot of fun and laughter as well. So I'm both for me and for the tour. I'm happy that that's what we're putting out there.
I'm excited to see Lolo for the first time. It's always great to see someone the first time. You talk about Simple Plan. I just watched their documentary, and they really focus on when they were cutting their teeth and coming up that they kind of had to prove themselves and pay their dues, and it was kind of
Mm,
hard for them in the pop punk scene. Did you guys
yeah,
experience a lot of that when you guys were coming up?
very close. Actually, it's funny. I just talked to Chuck about this a few days ago. I mean,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
it's very similar because them being from Canada, and us being from Texas. We weren't like, neither one of us were from California or Florida, where it seemed like those were the hotbeds or whatever for this kind of music. But also, we had radio hits, and there were a lot of the bands, especially like Warped Tour and things like that you kind of got looked down upon if you were on the radio, in the early 2000s. And so, as other bands started to kind of cross, and I realize that probably sounds silly coming from me now because so many bands that we think of, Sum 41, All American Rejects, Blink 182, obviously it broke on the radio. That it was just we were really kind of seen as the more pop side of the pop punk, and less of the punk rock. And yeah, we had to earn it, and yeah, as you said, you saw us at Warped Tour on the smallest stage there for 2 years, 2003 and 2004, both on the Ernie Ball stage. And, we were pulling crowds bigger than a lot of the bands on the main stage. And that, you know, not only promoters, but bands and press people took notice of that. And so, when I walk through the punk rock museum and I see, 3 or 4 Bowling for Soup things hanging up in there, I really, it is just such an achievement for me personally and for our band that we're even included in the conversation. Yeah, that means a lot because it really is something that we had to really, really, just fight and fight and fight for was that respect. Bands didn't take us on tour and we got passed over for Riot Fest and for Punk Rock Bowling and all of these festivals that everybody else was getting to play, and we didn't get those opportunities. But now we are, and historically, I think we've proven ourselves, and I think that we're in the conversation when people talk about that Mount Rushmore of pop punk. I think we're at least a contender.
Oh, definitely. And I think Mark Cuban even said it. I know a former Mavs owner, he had said, I think on Shark Tank, like the music business really is like the hardest business to invest in, to make it in, man. So I'll give you your flowers now. Speaking of which, you can see I got the Mark Hoppus book over here, Fahrenheit
Mhm.
182. Jaret
Yeah.
Reddick memoirs perhaps in the work. You ever think about writing the book?
I think I probably will. I stayed away from the idea for a long time because I really wanted to be honest, and there was a lot of things that I didn't really want my kids to know. And but I think through the experience of like since having kids and all of that, there's a lot of things to talk about that don't necessarily have to, change the way that they feel about me as far as some of the crazy shit that we did. But yeah, I think that that's something that I will explore. It's one of those things where I have so much going on right now that I don't think that I would pay. I don't think I would give it enough attention right now, but maybe in a few years.
If you do it, do the Audible because I love listening to the people who wrote
Oh
it
yeah,
read it. So
for
you
sure.
definitely have to. Obviously, you're the
100%.
originals. Love it.
Totally
Um,
agree, man.
we mentioned Mark Cuban. I always like to talk sports with you. I know you're a big Mavs guy. I know there was a big trade
Yeah.
with Luca that kind of hurt a
Yeah.
little bit. I want to get your thoughts on the Mavs this season, and then also I see Aaron Rodgers over on the Steelers. I know you're a Steelers guy.
Yeah, I'm actually repping
Oh, you got
Steelers.
yes.
Yeah, I'm a bigger Steelers fan than I am anything. And I'm from Dallas, so I know a lot of people ask why. And my dad is from Pittsburgh, born and raised. So, and I was born in the '70s, and we were, as I was getting into sports, the Steelers were winning Super Bowls like crazy. So it was very easy to be that. And then also just, going to school and everybody else was a Cowboys fan to be something, to be a little, it was a little bit more early in my punk rock. Before I found punk rock, that was a punk rock thing to do.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I am one of those guys that I try not to be a couch sitting coach.
Yeah, the quarterback,
I
armchair quarterback or whatever.
armchair
Yeah.
quarterback, right? I trust the process, and I do think that Aaron Rodgers deal was done way before the draft, and I think, I just think all of the whole like the holdout and all of that was just, that was all on purpose. I feel like that deal has been done, and I think that's why they made some of the moves that they made. I think that's why George Pickens has gone. And but I trust the process. I think that they did some great things for the defense, and still making some of those moves. I hate the way they train now because so many people get injured. They
Yes.
just don't. It's not the preseason games. It's just the lack of practice and the lack of like full on movement. And the injuries scare me first part of the season. But I think if we stay healthy, we can win 10 games and maybe a playoff game. Um, and the Mavs, just we'll just have to see. It's one of those things where I think that obviously we got the fact that we won that draft lottery is it still blows my mind. I still can't believe it, but I still can't believe the trade happened either. I mean that this city really, really loved Luka, just the
Yeah.
same way that we loved Dirk. And I think we all thought he would be here the whole time, his whole career. And I was actually at a show and I walked off stage to find out that had happened. And
Oh no.
I was literally sick to my stomach, and it was at home too. So it was like all of my friends, both, in and out of the band were there, and everybody loves the Mavs. And it was just like, I mean, the whole energy just got sucked out of the room. And,
Yeah.
and he is, I'll always be a fan of Luca. He looks so great. And, he lost all that weight that we said he couldn't lose, and he looks like he's coming for us. And I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it if he's going to put some more notches, on the Lakers championship board for sure.
That was my big heartbreak when they traded Jason Kidd to you guys.
Mm,
And I'm like, I
yeah,
loved seeing him and Vince and Jefferson. I'm like, what's happened? I
I
was
know.
heartbroken. And
Well,
sure
that
enough, you
was
guys won the
crazy.
title.
Yeah, well, that was crazy because he was drafted by the Mavericks originally. We had the
Yes.
three J's, Jamal Mashburn and was it Joe? What I can't think of his last name, and Jason Kidd.
Yes.
And then we were just such a mess back then, and yeah, him coming back and then winning a championship and then coaching and I think he's definitely one of those people where we're happy to have him, but we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah.
I have it because of our schedule. I sort of have to sort of rely on the news and stuff. I don't get to watch a lot of games until late in the season. Same with hockey. It's just too many games. But late in the season, I start to pay attention, and that way I'm ready for the postseason and stuff. But
Love it.
yeah, man, we'll see. We will see what happens. Dallas sports are a bit of a mess right now. So we were just talking about that yesterday.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where well, our stars, did well, but we'll see what happens.
Yes. Yeah, well, absolutely. We'll switch gears back to the music real quick, and thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
the whole new sound, the Disney pop punk album.
Yeah,
When I saw that when the listing was coming out, and they were kind of releasing the tracks on YouTube one by one. When I saw
yeah,
"Friend Like Me" and "Bowling for Soup," match
yeah,
made in heaven because the voice is the
yeah.
Robin Williams esque of it all. Did you guys
Mhm.
have a hand in, and whatever you're comfortable with sharing, in choosing what song, and how did that all come about? Because that, for me, that was like the perfect mix right there.
We got sent a list of the songs, and we had already done Bare Necessities, and there was they had obviously already sort of made deals with a few bands, so some of the songs were already taken. Because another one that I really would have wanted to do was maybe the Tarzan song.
Oh, good,
But
such a good song.
yeah, because
Phil
that
Collins.
soundtrack is so freaking good, man. Yeah, yeah, it's so great. But man, when I saw that Friend Like Me was on there, it's just made for us. I was a theater kid and I do voices for a living, and I was just like, man, I want to do it, but I don't want to mock Robin Williams. I don't want to copy Robin Williams, but I want to pay tribute to Robin Williams. And I watched the Will Smith one, and I'm not a hater. I thought the movie was pretty good, but I really didn't like the way that he did that song. I
Mhm.
I I it really it did not have
It fell flat a little
again.
bit.
It really really did like
Yeah.
that song sets the tone for the whole movie. That's this turning point, and so yeah, the guys jumped right in, and Rob did the arrangement, and I just described to him, here's what I want it to sound like, and he went into a studio like a little mad scientist and just made it, and then Gary, put the drums on so that then I could, and then when I got it, it was pretty much the music was done, and because we had to do it like in between tours and stuff, so it
Oh
wasn't like
wow.
we all got to go in the studio together and do it. And so then, when I sent the vocals to the guys, everybody was just like, "We did it." I don't know if I'm supposed to cuss. I'm sorry,
You do whatever you
but
want.
okay. But yeah, man, I was really glad that we got that song. What was really really cool about it was that I heard from a lot of the other bands that I didn't even know that or I hadn't met that were on that soundtrack that reached out to me and were like, dude, your performance on that song, man, it really, really ties the record together. And just, that was really cool when your peers kind of come out of the woodwork and reach out to you and tell you that you did something that they're enjoying. It makes you feel good, kind of I gotta admit it was a really nice little pat on the back.
I love that. And that one's probably one, and I'm a drummer, so take this with a grain of salt, but like that one's
Yeah.
probably a lot of start and stop because it's not one vocal track all the way through
Oh,
because you have the impressions and the different
yeah.
inflections and all that. So,
Yeah, well, luckily, I have kids, and so I've always loved Disney. I like musicals already, so I've probably seen that movie 1,000 times, and so I already knew the song, and I knew all of the
nice.
little nuances and stuff, and I sort of like knew where I wanted. And so Rob was actually with me when I did the vocals, and we put a few little Easter eggs in there for like some friends of ours and stuff.
Oh wow.
But yeah, Rob had sort of made this. They again made the arrangement or whatever, and put some of those crazy drums in there. And then
Yes.
Gary went in and made them crazier. And so when I heard what Gary did on there, I was just really, really stoked because it holds its own, that's for sure.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was listening to it. I'm like, that was brilliant. Like, can your friends do this? And the little drum break and then the bass solos, like that
Yeah,
was brilliant. Absolutely.
yeah,
I love that. Real quick, two more questions, if I may. I want
yeah,
to be respectful
totally.
of your time, man. Um, let's talk about this, man. Would you ever do? I know you were close with Fountains of Wayne. Respect to Adam, of course. Great band. I know you guys do a lot of covers. Would you guys have you ever done, or would you guys ever
Yeah,
do that thing you do?
yeah. So I've done an acoustic a bunch.
Okay.
I honestly think I think it's one of the greatest songs ever written. And I remember
Yeah.
telling Adam that, because we were buddies, the way that movie revolves around that song and how you can hear that song the entire movie and never get sick of it. It just shows you what a genius Adam Schlesinger was. So yeah, I mean that would definitely be definitely an idea of something that we might do. We're in the middle of a pop punk covers record right now. We're actually doing a bunch of songs by our peers. But then we just went in and recorded a new original song, and we had such a good time in the studio that we booked studio time. So we're going to do a new record in February. So that's where we're at right now with recording.
Very, very excited for all the new music and the covers too. Last one.
Thanks,
This is
man.
a fun one. We're big wrestling fans. I know we talked about Alexa Bliss last time. I hope you do get
Yeah,
a player out one day, but I'll ask you this.
yeah.
Triple threat match. Stacey's mom versus the girl all the bad guys want versus Alexa Bliss. Who wins?
Alexa Bliss. I mean,
Nice.
yeah. I mean, that's just she's the best, and she always finds a way to win, right? It's she's she knows what she's doing. It's funny. She pretty much kept WWE alive during the pandemic, and then goes on maternity leave and comes back and just
Yes.
steals the show again. And so I think Lexi Kaufman hung the moon, man. I'm just such a fan of hers, and I just love their little family, I'm so happy for her and for Ryan as well. And so, yeah, my winner's got to be Alexa Bliss.
I love it. And Jared, always good talking to you, man. Continue success. I'll be in the crowd on Wednesday. I don't think I'll be crowd surfing as much as I used to. I'm more like, oh, these kids got to be careful. It's a little different these days. I got to keep
Yeah,
everyone safe. But I look forward to the
yeah.
show this Wednesday at Asbury Park. Thanks for your time, man. Continue success.
Thanks, my brother. We'll see you soon.